Shalom, family. Good to see everybody here. I hope everybody is having a wonderful, wonderful weekend. So, we're going to talk about the African migrants that are complaining that they're being treated completely different from other migrants in New York. Now, this does not come as a surprise because, America is still a slave nation. They just got new slaves coming south of the border now. But the racism is all the same. I don't see how any African in this time period don't know about the racism in America. American racism is world renowned. You got to be living under a rock not to hear about how racist it is in America. Okay. You got to be living under two rocks for that matter. So I don't know. You see how we have been getting treated for centuries. And some of y'all are even more melanated than we are. These people have they don't get down with melanin. They want melanin, but they don't want the kind that comes from Africa, okay, and coming into their country to live. They don't want that kind of melanin. So let's get into what's going on. They had a big protest. The African migrants had a big protest. And let's hear some of the things they were saying. Nothing, by the way, nothing that we have not heard ourselves. So they go on to say pets are treated better than us. Pets are treated better than us. Migrants who spend life savings traveling from Africa to New York. Well, these folks will cry over a dog before they cry over any of us killed out in the streets. We already know this. Again, they're not saying anything that we haven't heard, right? These people will cry over some pet dog before they weep over someone getting gunned down in the street. That's how they are. That's how they are. We already knew this. And then they go on to say, they feel like they've been sold a lie by Hollywood. Yes, they lie to the entire planet. So does Europe. Europe and America, in fact, all of these Western Hemisphere countries, they lie to you. They sell you a dream, but when you get here to live, it's not a dream at all. It's nothing close to a dream. And see, y'all buy into what these Europeans and these Americans say about the country, and when you make it here, it is not what they claim. They greatly over exaggerate Europe and the Americas, greatly over exaggerate, for real. And 9 times out of 10, many migrants get here, and when they start living and have to work and pay the taxes and deal with all the red tape, many wish they never left their nations. It's not a good trade-off at all. So anyway, but the American dream isn't like the movies. No, no. Reality in America is far from a movie. So, migrants who spent their life savings traveling from Africa to New York said they are the victims of lies in the movies after life in the Big Apple was not what they expected. No, because, like I said, these folks go around lying to everybody on the planet about how great it is in these Western nations, and it's no greatness in it at all. It's never been great. Hundreds of homeless expats, mostly young and middle-aged African men, were waiting in line outside of a church on East 7th Street in Manhattan, East Village. I know where East Village is. On Thursday, hoping to find a place to sleep. Now, listen to that. But those Venezuelans and Chileans, they got hotel rooms and shelters, and some got apartments that the city is footing the bill on. They got shelter. And they're the biggest ones out here robbing and committing all the crimes, right? But the Africans are telling you they're sleeping on these cold behind streets. Mm-mm-mm. Among them was Landry, 40 years old, from Congo. And he said he spent his life saving $9,000 to travel to the US. He said it was a difficult decision for him to make because he was not taking his wife and his 14-year-old son. So he put a lot of thought into it before he came. So, wow. That's a shame. But, and these folks got the nerve to look at these same people and say, well, why did they come to Europe? Why did they come? Because Africa's not good. No, that's not why. They come because y'all lie to these people. And you try to make America and European nations sound bigger and grander than what they really are. You lie to them. That's why they feel that way. It's not that they think, just naturally believe it's better where you are. You lie about where you are. You definitely over exaggerate, overemphasize the greatness of these nations, and these nations are not great. They're not great. So he goes on to say it's like prison here. Oh, now you know what it's like to really be Black. Welcome, Africa. Welcome. So anyway, he was speaking in French because, Congo, it's negligence. We have no access to food, toilets, or anything. Animals live better here. Pets in the streets are treated better than us. The UN building is right there. to talk about the problems around the world, but look at all of this on their doorstep, desperate and lack of services. Now, the Venezuelans, aren't they getting hundreds and even $1,000 a month? And what was Leonel Moreno said he was getting $350 a month, and they were getting that $1,000 a month, and he was panhandling. So I guess they're giving all of the money to the south of the border people, but if you came from Africa, they ain't giving you squat. So this is what he's putting out there. So he goes on to say, we were sold a dream in Hollywood films and TV, but the reality of life in New York City is not like the movies, he said, adding that he had been bused. He was bussed over to New York from California. Wow, that's a long journey on a bus. From California to New York, that is a long journey. And he said that when he was asked about how he felt and what was he, thinking. And of course, he was thinking of his family back in Congo. And he said, I cry and think, why did I do this? But it's too late. I spent my life savings coming here, and now I can't get a job. What can I do? Landry, trying to learn Spanish in hopes of eventually securing a job at the Latino restaurant. Many of the other migrants in the queue had similar stories. All right, so there's another Abdoulaye from Guinea spent $10,000 to travel from Africa through Turkey, Colombia, Panama, Guatemala, Mexico, and then landed in Texas. Wow. He really did go through a lot of countries to get here. So he said he was given shelter for the first few weeks of his stay in New York City, but have been sleeping on the streets for the past few days. After 1 month, they put you outside, he said. Sleeping outside in the cold is too much. The situation is no good right now. Okay, friends, Viviana, 44, Selena, 22, from Ecuador, were the only two women in the 100-strong queue Thursday afternoon. Speaking Spanish, they said they fled danger in South America only to sleep on the streets in New York where they don't feel safe. Wow. Yeah, well, that's the way it is. Oh boy, those are some dark women. That's why. Yeah, they're from Ecuador. Yeah, well, now you know why they're on the street. They're not light and bright. Okay, so anyway, the alarming scene underscores Mayor Eric Adams' own recent admission that New York City, proudly touted as a beacon of Democrats, sanctuary city, policy, is now the breaking point. But look at what they're doing. And it's, y'all, pay attention. Now, you got these Africans that are saying they are on the streets. They're not getting money. They're not getting food. They're not getting help, right? But the ones south of the border are getting all the help. And this is happening in a democratic city, with a Democratic black mayor, and you got a Democratic president, a Democratic Congress. You see, this is what the Democrats are doing. This is what the Democrats are doing. And recently Joe Biden has been trying to shift the blame on Trump. There ain't none of this is Donald Trump's fault. Donald Trump has been out of office for the past few years now. You can't lay none of this on Donald Trump, but he's definitely trying to. He's trying to do it. Okay. So, more than 160,000 migrants have arrived in the city since spring of 2022. The crisis is only deepening as they continue to be bussed from Texas, where record numbers are pouring over the border. Some 30,000, I'm sorry, 300,000 breached the US Mexico border back in December. Yes, they said that was the highest number that came in, while more than 785,000 have entered the country since October, marking the highest quarter total on record. Adams confessed on Fox 5 earlier this week that we're getting close to where somewhere of 2,500 to peak at 4,000 a week. So they're getting 4,000 new migrants coming in per week. That's crazy. That's unsustainable. You can't s Never mind. Never mind. So, what happens when there's no more room? He said, "We were not just saying we're out of room as a soundbite." Adams answered, citing that more than 161,000 migrants whom have arrived sought city aid since spring of 2022. So, mm, mm, mm. We're out of room, literally. The Democratic city declared people are going to be sleeping on the streets. There, well, the Africans are. Y'all ain't giving them nothing, not even helping them financially, like you are the people from south of the border. Adams replied that he simply could not, due to laws that prohibit both state and local officers from enforcing federal immigration laws. I don't have the authority to tell people that they can't come to New York City, Adams explained to an unaware Scotto. So he said it's against the law, seemingly angry at the question. He then said it's the second time asserting once more it's against the law. Estimates from earlier this week show that the city spent $2 billion in housing migrants. $2 billion. You know, y'all are throwing money away on people when they do get jobs and work here in the US. They're going to send that money back home. They're not even going to boost the economy that much in the city. $2 billion to house migrants. But as soon as you say reparations, they don't have nothing. Still continues to pour money into the crisis. Poll after poll shows New Yorkers are unhappy with how Biden is handling the current situation after it allocated only $140 million to aid the city. Mayor Adams has had to go to DC more than 10 times over the past few months to plead for more aid as he faces a prospective $12 billion cost if the crisis continues. Those calls have so far gone unanswered. For now, the Big Apple appears to be on its own. Well, I'm not surprised. You got to understand Joe Biden, he don't see none of this. See, he's all for the borders, but as far as seeing these people and dealing with them on a regular basis, he doesn't have to. He's not seeing them like we are. He's not seeing these migrants all out there wherever he's staying in DC. We know he's in the presidential mansion, but look, y'all, he don't have to look at this. And trust me, he's not dealing with no migrants on no regular basis. I bet you he never sees this unless he makes a trip to New York City. Otherwise, where he is, he don't see this. Totally unaffected by it. Republicans have seized upon the border security issue as the main 2024 election issue. Yeah, well, the Republicans are sitting there on Capitol Hill too. They're not putting up that big of a fight about these people being here. They're not, which has become a political headache for President Biden. Speaker Mike Johnson and 60 House Republicans toured the US Mexico border at Eagle Pass on Wednesday as part of their campaign. The group, hosted by GOP Rep. Tony Gonzalez, who represents the area, will hear from the Border Patrol, Texas Department of Public Safety, and other stakeholders touring the region. They're only going there just so they can put their political ads on. They're going to film the border and then throw their political ads on so they can win the election. They're not going over there because they really give a. Trust me, this is very political. It's politics. It's the first large scale congressional delegate to the border led by the new speaker. No, they're running. A lot of these Republicans are up for election. They want to just get their cameras and videos, filmed around that area, and then you'll see their political ads with the southern border in it. That's all. These people are so pathetic. In December, Johnson sent a letter urging Biden to use executive power to immediately stem the flow of migrants. No, he needs to sit down and use his executive power and give us our damn reparations. That's what he need to do. So anyway, the speaker directed the president to end the catch and release, turning away any migrants encountered between ports of entry, and use patrol only on a case by case basis. He also called the president to reinstate Trump era policies like building the wall, reinstating the Remain in Mexico program, and expanding removal of those who cannot demonstrate asylum eligibility. Well, none of those are going to happen. The only thing I think Biden might do as the election gets close, he may try to start shutting down the border or really cutting the amount of people coming across the border, because he knows a lot of the American citizens are upset about this big flow of people coming in. So he'll do a slick political move and start slowing down things at the border just so he can win the election. And then, of course, once he wins, he's going to open the floodgates up again. That's how these folks are. You can't trust nothing they say. Nothing. You can't believe it and you can't trust it. And I'm not surprised that these Africans are saying they've been out there all this time. They don't have money. They don't have food. They're sleeping on the streets. And then you see the Venezuelans and the Chileans and the Ecuadorians on mopeds out there snatching women purses and snatching iPhones. They can get mopeds. They can get all kinds of, they're in the stores shoplifting. They're getting brand new clothes, brand new sneakers that they're stealing out of the store. And all they do is arrest them, hold them for a moment, and then let them go. But they sure have a lot more compared to the African migrants. And they notice it too. That's why they went up about a week ago and protested at City Hall in New York. But you can best believe, y'all, yeah, new cars. Yeah, you see what the Venezuelans got. New cars. Now they got guns and all kinds of weaponry. Yeah, they got all of that. Yeah, it's a world of difference, isn't it? But you know what? If you are a melanated immigrant, just know when you step foot on American soil, the racism will begin. It will begin. Yep. Squatting in homes. Oh yeah, the Venezuelans and they're doing fine. They know how to play the system when they get here. They know, and they're teaching each other. You can best believe Moreno was not the only one teaching this stuff. They're teaching it. They're all out there doing that. No, don't send them to Russia. Send them to the White House. Send them to the White House, and when they get there, sleep all over the White House lawn. You know, go send them up to the White House. Park the bus right in front of the White House and let them get out and let them deal with the migrants every day. Send them to Capitol Hill, wherever these politicians are, the White House, send them over there. And send them over there. Let them sleep all on the ground around the White House and Capitol Hill. Or we get the names and addresses of all the politicians in this country and send them over to their house. That's what you do. No, don't send them elsewhere. No, send them over since they really want these people here. We get the names of all of these politicians that are voting to give all kinds of aid and money and shelter to the migrants, get their names and addresses and send these migrants over there. That's what you do. You know, the only reason why they're for everything is because they don't have to deal with it. None of these politicians are dealing with these migrants like the average citizen is out here. So it's time to make them deal with it. Get their names, get their addresses, and start shipping these migrants over to where they live. Hmm. So, I mean, no, it's a shame they spent their life savings coming all the way over here. But, for a while, Eric Adams was offering plane tickets to any location they wanted to go in the world, and they would foot the bill. Maybe the Africans can figure out how to get in on that and maybe fly their way back home. Because at this rate, I don't know how they're going to get off the streets. How are they going to get off the streets? It's hard enough being a working poor person in America, but you have nothing and you're here. Oh no, that's a tough thing. This is one place that you should never be penniless in. It's a tough place to be like that. Hmm. And the more men you see, the melanated men, yeah, the more melanated you are, the less likely they want to help you over here. But yeah, but I understand where they say, you watch the movies and they always make it look so good and happy and everybody is just doing well. It's just, they've been selling that fakery for a long time. And when I talked to back in the day when I was working with some of these foreigners, I knew instantly they were lying to a lot of them about how it is here. Come on. These people don't tell the truth about anything. Onika, thank you so much for the super chat. Queen Lisa, we've been warning them for a long time. You're right. We have, and I don't, like I said, I don't see how they don't know how racist it is over here and in these Western nations. I was reading about some of the Africans talking about how badly they're treated over there in Italy and in Spain and yeah, all over Europe. The people are, you got to understand these people have been this way for centuries and they're not going to change because some foreigners with melanin came floating over here. In fact, they'll double down before they change. They should know better. Mhm. Wow. So, y'all, I'm not going to hold you any longer, but maybe they should look for, and I don't know if they can even help, maybe they should look for the African embassy, of their country there in New York. I know they got all of them right there in New York. They may have to just go to the embassy and see what they can do, and maybe they can help them get back home if they wanna leave out of New York. I mean, the embassy, I think, would be their only option at this point, but we shall see. So, everybody, I will be doing another live stream, the Bible study that we do later on. So I will see some of you there. And the rest of you, please enjoy the rest of your day. Shalom, family.